Okay, so okay, I got it. Sorry. So last time, so we know where we are as we begin. Last time we started with we started just as the centipede, the giant whip-tail centipede, burst through the wardrobe and into the dungeon room that you were all initially taking shelter in, as you had heard something from the hall approaching. As the giant centipede rushed inside, you all would have readied for combat, bracing yourselves for what's to come. After a grueling combat, Hoot and Nyx in particular being targeted and viciously attacked, you finally struck down the two massive insect creatures, taking only a moment to breathe before rushing out of the dungeon. Not taking a second to consider what might be down the other path, you rushed up and out, back into the fresh air and daylight of the Red Vivarium. You continued your travel forward, everybody resigning themselves to their previous position and now traveling through the well-lit portion of the woods. You started to make your way into the Red Vivarium proper. What foul abomination awaited ahead, still a mystery. What you did notice, though, was that this part of the woods was increasingly quiet, as if everything living within was a predator themselves, kind of waiting for the opportune moment to strike at any misfortunate soul to come across. Thankfully, though, due to some very good navigational skills, some clever tricks using blood to throw off any would-be predators from your trail, as well as some lucky rolls, you managed to avoid anything that could cause you harm. Creatures that you unknowingly got around, as well as the vampiric mist that Dorina was able to spot and potentially lure in the wrong direction. In any case, your travel was unbothered until Hoot would spot what looked to be a well-worn trail. Finally, the first kind of glimpses of a path of some sort. You crested over the top of the hill and spotted a bit kind of out of place in this part of the woods, down like almost like a slight valley. This random cottage, kind of sitting in place amongst the woods. Mac and Cheese, deciding to proactively check out the home, went and checked through the windows. Finding nothing in the rear rooms, you checked up front, finding a figure sitting in a rocking chair in front of a small fire. Gaining their attention, they rushed out to you, initially startled, before the three of you recognized each other. This was the figure from the village that was destroyed, who you would come to learn by the name of Brynmore. He invited you in warmly and sat speaking with the two of you until the others arrived, quickly following in behind. You would learn that this figure, Brynmore, was from Brevik. They seemed far from home, deciding to stay out here. Didn't really let on exactly why, but just kind of hints, subtle hints at trying to kind of get away, kind of waiting something out. You all spoke and kind of questioned each other back and forth before he invited you all to stay the evening and make yourself comfortable, because the forest at night was not a safe place whatsoever. Eventually, he would retire to his room, which some of you were beginning to suspect may not be his room. This house may not be his either, at least not originally. So, some of these paranoias in mind. Regardless, feeling, at the very least, he was probably less of a threat than what you may face, trying to rough it out in the woods at night. So, some of you ate from the stew left atop the fire, and then the five of you retired to the opposite bedroom yourselves. Some of you sleeping in the bed, others taking a bedroll to the floor. And eventually it was that you would all kind of sleep soundly. A strange, soothing relief kind of cascading over you all. Try as you might, keeping yourself awake. Eventually, sleep would befall all five of you. That is where we begin. So, as we jump in, I need the five of you to give me perception check.
Oh no. fucking damn.
Oh, Dawn, you poor thing.
I was
no.
knocked out.
Yeah. Hoot
okay?
was the worst, right? In the worst shape. So, you being completely unconscious and just completely out of it in this moment makes full sense. But with the highest, Nyx, as you, probably the least comfortable sleeping in this spot, right? For you, even though sleep came for a time, it didn't hold on very well. And about roughly, hard to tell, but possibly halfway through the evening, at some point you are awoken by the shutting of the door across the hall and heavy steps leaving the room. Just kind of wake up and kind of look around. It's just you. Everybody else is extremely, extremely asleep. Hoot especially, right? Initially taking a bedroll. Hoot is sleeping so well. He's escaped from the bedroll and is just kind of splayed out across the floor. So, as the heavy footsteps and the closing of the door, heavy footsteps kind of escape, start to walk down the hall, roughly middle of the night. It's definitely still dark out. You kind of look around. Everything is still, well into the darkness of the evening. As you kind of come to, what are you doing?
Kind of shaking myself awake a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of expecting something to have happened, I guess, from the strange man living in the house. Probably grab it or someone else that is on the floor as well.
Okay. You kind of reach over and kind of look to shake somebody awake. Okay. Well, I think the twins were for sure in the bed, so who may be on the floor with you is probably a D4. Is it at random, or are you deliberately picking one between Dodina and Hoot?
It's probably just whoever was closer.
All right. Well, then let's roll a D4. We'll say 1 and 2 is Hoot, 3 and 4 is Dodina. And we'll see by random who it is. You kind of reach over and kind of shake awake. I can roll it. You can roll it, whichever you prefer.
Yeah.
Okay, so reach over and splayed out the best night of sleep he has gotten in a long time because of the day prior, which was supremely draining. Kind of grab a hold of Hoot and kind of shake him, stir him awake. Drooling all over yourself, yeah.
Pretty much.
Get up, Hoot.
What's going on? It's not morning yet.
Yeah, I think our housemate is... He seems to be up and about. I heard him walking around outside.
Did you just hear him exit the room or the house? I mean, we've been saved so far. I don't think he's...
I hear his footsteps outside of our door. Don't know before or if what happened there.
Before the conversation continues, how quiet are you trying to be as you speak to each other now?
I'm moderately quiet.
You're kind of just speaking kind of plainly?
Pretty... More of a whisper, but trying not to let the person potentially standing outside the door... Well, it sounded like he walked away, so...
Yeah.
It's probably not that whispered, but...
And I don't think it would consider
somewhat
being
quiet.
so sleepy.
Fair enough. Okay. So, to interrupt.
Seems like our acquaintance has been around. Not sure where he went to.
And
Please stand up.
as we're listening, is there anything still going on outside the room? Just trying to pay attention now that he's awoken from his slumber while still holding on to his ribs.
Absolutely. So as the two of you kind of, or at the very least as Hoot, as you kind of take a moment, try to listen in, don't hear anything. The only, noise that you've kind of heard has been kind of Nick's kind of, stirring you awake, and then, kind of the claim, I guess, so far that somebody's walking around, but as you kind of sit and wait and kind of just listen as close as you can, you don't really hear anything.
Gets to that point, because we're still halfway through our sleep, will really want to finish his sleep, and he'll just look to his pack, which is probably still laying at the mat, and take out the piece of wood that he had picked up earlier, which he's gonna try to just wedge in the door so it would act like an old school stopper.
Okay.
That way we at least have some warning, if there's anything happening, but at least we can finish our sleep, because I think we'll definitely need it for tomorrow.
Yeah, take the stick. I'm gonna kind of go look to wedge it as like a door stopper. Next, as you see Hoot kind of starting to do this.
I'll probably stop him before he's like put it in the door, because I want to look outside.
Okay.
Just to make sure if there is anyone just standing outside, they aren't gonna. Yeah.
I can watch for a moment and take out my knife and start carving it slightly a bit more into shape.
Fair enough. Okay. Perfect. So you go to open the door and kind of give a quick little glance outside.
Just
up
absolutely. And down the hallway. Yeah,
the hallway, especially from where the kind of living room area is that you were all kind of sitting and previously speaking at. They're not very far from each other, right? The standing right outside the door. Yeah. As you open the door. Yeah, okay. All right. Again, milk shit posting. Okay. But as you kind of open the door, the hallway is like a very small hallway. It's like, maybe 6 to 8 feet or something, before you're kind of out into the living room proper anyways, right? It's kind of all connected. So you very clearly see the firelight. And I'm going to say, as you kind of open the door and look out, you see a long shadow kind of up against the wall of the hallway itself, kind of emanating from that living room area. And you see a figure, right? You assume it's like a stretched kind of humanly figure. The bending of the light is a little weird. But just kind of standing, They don't seem to be moving, but you can see the clear outline of a person. Assuming the person that, has been the host that has invited you all in, standing potentially near the fire, warming up something. Hard to tell, but as you kind of look up and down, you see the shadow, but you don't see anything else. The hallway itself is kind of cleared, and you can't see the figure directly. You just see, from beyond the wall of the hallway where the figure might be. You have like a rough idea where they are in the room, kind of closer to the corner where the fireplace is at.
I'll try to relay that to Hoot, who's, I guess, behind me. There's someone cooking something in the main room. You want to come and greet them? Pretty odd hour for them to be awake.
Yeah, I guess so. Should we awaken our companions as well? Because, well, might get murdered in the other room. It will be good to have backup.
Not the worst idea.
Ood will go towards the bed and just sit on it for a moment. See if that wakes the twins up.
Did you sit on top of one of us?
It's not the largest bed. Yeah, maybe you did. Maybe you kind of sat on. Let's see. 1d4. 1 and 2 Mac. 3 and 4 cheese.
Why wouldn't you roll a d2?
Because I have the d4, like I can click it right away, whereas I'd have to type in the d2.
That's fair.
Yeah. So.
Sat
you
on Mac.
Kind of go to sit on the bed. The bed is a little bit tighter than you expect, and kind of butt nudge and kind of, sit on for a moment before kind of finding a better place to sit down as you kind of sit on Mac a little bit, and Mac, this is enough to kind of stir you awake in this moment.
Mac will kind of like wake up a little bit. He'll like kick Hoot in the process.
Okay, yeah.
Ooh, my ribs.
Yeah.
But he will sit up with his foot now like on Hoot's lap after he kicked him. And he'll just go, "Why did you sit on me?"
Well, I didn't really mean to sit on you. I was meant to sit
Are
on
you meant to lay with us? Well, I mean, you could have just told me to scoot over a little bit if you wanted to share the bed.
Well, in retrospect, it seems rather small. But anyway, there's some movement going on in the front, and someone seems to already be cooking up breakfast. So we were thinking of checking it out. Would you care to join us? Also, nudging Cheese.
Yeah, enough to wake up Cheese as well.
Yeah, just to wake up. He looks kind of pissed, actually. But just for like a moment. But you're like touching him. But then, he chimes in with the same smile as Mac and is like, alright. Breaky at 2 in the morning. Sounds good to me.
Brecky.
Yeah.
Okay. So
What about our dear Dorina?
I'd say at this point there's probably been enough sound and movement in the room that it probably would have stirred Dorina awake. Or rather, yeah.
Breakfast so early? That sounds worth investigating.
Seeing everyone awake, I'm gonna start kind of walking down the hallway, shouting out to the guy.
Okay. Yeah. So now that everybody's kind of awake, you kind of just step out of the room, right? Kind of taking leave, and you kind of call out, down the hall as you make your approach. Roll me a perception check. .24. Okay. As you kind of call out, initially, you're a bit maybe you've got your eyes kind of set more towards, where you're expecting to be looking as soon as you kind of come around the corner, right? You're gonna see Bryn Mawr, right? You're gonna kind of see the figure. But with the 24, as you kind of call out, there is the shadow itself is a little weird to you in the moment, right? Like there's a bending and kind of like a craning of the neck. You assume it's like the figure kind of turning and looking back, but it looks so weird. It looks like there's like a length to the neck that is unnatural. And you see it on the wall, and it's like, it kind of throws you off. But you've already kind of committed to the walk, right? You've already kind of committed your way down this hallway, and so as you kind of come around the corner, right, you only see like a glance of it, just moments right before you kind of turn around. You know, the decision to turn this corner has kind of already been made, but you just see it like a flash before you kind of turn, and you see standing there normally, Bryn Mawr, who kind of like, he's kind of half turned in your direction. He's got a bit of a surprised look on his face. I'm sorry if I woke you all, or woke you. Kind of thinks for a moment. Did I disturb your sleep at all? I wasn't attempting to, it just kind of...
Well, it is quite early.
Yeah.
Why are you up this godforsaken early?
Kind of just shrugs his shoulders, kind of looks around. I don't know. Kind of a natural sleep regression.
Thought we had some unwanted guest break-in.
No. No, nothing like that. You need not worry about anything like that. As he's kind of saying this, kind of looks away from you for a second, kind of down at the ground, and then kind of draws his gaze kind of back up at you. I'm gonna go off that 24. Despite his back being turned to the fire, maybe he kind of momentarily kind of looks, like when he's looking away and maybe down at the floor, maybe there's just like a bit of no, that wouldn't make sense. It's kind of looking down, kind of looking away. Yeah, running off that 24 before. There's like a quick shift of the eyes that you would have missed had you not been kind of really paying attention. So he kind of like looks down and kind of, as he's like raising his head back up to kind of meet your gaze, he kind of like a slight shift of the head and kind of like a closing of the eyes and opening back up. They look different, right? As they look at you now, they look normal. Initially, they had this kind of strange kind of form to them. Just kind of shakes it off and kind of looks at you, kind of squints at you a bit. Well, would you join me by the fire?
I mean, personally, I wanted to go back to bed. I just wanted to make sure there weren't intruders coming in the middle of the night. But
I mean, yeah, feel free to get some more sleep. I'll be up and about in case there are any intruders. He kind of smiles and kind of laughs like a bit to himself. You need not worry. If I'm sure you have much to do tomorrow with like looking for the other twins brother, or whatever the agenda is for you all.
Yeah, they have quite the family, apparently.
Yeah. Kind of stands there.
Well, some of them might be stirring. I didn't want to go into a unknown room. Some odd people coming in the night. So, well, I guess if they want anything, they're more than welcome to. I'm kind of like turning my head down the hallway to see if they're just staring or watching.
I think everybody else is in the room, right? Has anybody kind of moved up to the edge as well, or
listening intently from the door frame.
Okay.
Yeah, Mac probably wandered in at some point.
Oh, okay. So you walked on down the hall.
Like sleepily wandered in,
Right,
yawning and stuff.
Yeah, so we'll say that as you look next down the hall, you can see like Mac kind of brushing the cold out of his eyes as he makes his way down the hall.
Well, he says he has everything. All right.
Yeah, which of the twins are you again? Kind of looking at
the hour.
Well, I'm Mac, but I could be Cheese.
Yeah. As I told your companion here, if you wish to be awakened, that is fine. I'm sorry if I disturbed his sleep. I was not intending to. Just
Oh no,
up.
I got sat on, so.
Okay. He's like, kind of just accepts that explanation. I got sat on. Okay. Yeah. Well, if you'd like to join me, feel free. But if not, then enjoy the rest. I'll be taking care of a few things since I'm awake anyways, and maybe I will see you before you depart.
Is it obvious that he's like cooking breakfast?
No, he's not doing anything like that.
Oh, okay.
He actually, I mean, roll me a perception check as you kind of stand here and kind of see him in full sight. Yeah, it's
Okay, so Nyx is really observant and Mac is really not observant today.
yeah. Well, Mac is waking up observant and Nyx is, awake observant, right? But I'll say, yeah, anyways, yeah, as Nyx, as you kind of stand here and look at this figure, I mean, it a few things kind of strike out at you as a bit odd. He's if it's not something you would have noticed right away, because you yourself were still kind of waking up a little bit, but now kind of looking at him and now like having spoken to him for a few moments, looking at him now, he's dressed like he's got his armor on, he's got a cloak over, he is dressed like he is fully prepared for adventuring, for combat, anything, which is a little weird, right, for somebody to just wake up to immediately kind of get dressed in this state. It is coming off as a bit odd to you now, just like wait a minute, like, okay, like I can understand that you just woke up at a weird time, right? Might be stirring and doing a few things, but to be fully armored and weapons, very obvious weapons. What kind of armor is it? Leather armor, kind of like a thick padded leather armor. Very obvious kind of rapier by his side, and on the armor itself there are a few pockets, and you can see these small kind of pointed metal blades.
Well, guess noticing that, I'd kind of ask where he's going. Where are you going out?
He kind of stares at you blankly, before kind of like recognizing what you asked and kind of looking around. Oh, yeah, I was gonna handle something.
From all the stories I've heard, there are some odd things in the night out here.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah.
if you trust yourself that much, I'm not gonna question someone else going out in the middle of the night.
I mean, I live here, right? You're visiting.
Exactly. Who am I to tell you what to do?
He's shaking his head like in agreement, but it's a bit subtly aggressive. Like you look at him and you get the feeling like he is asking you that exactly, but like he's asking you bluntly. Not that he's not verbalizing, right? But the way he's kind of, you know, slowly kind of shaking his head like yes, you get the feeling that he is like aggressively kind of like posturingly asking you like, who are you to ask me, right? Or who are you to tell me anything? This is a very different demeanor. Yeah, this is a very different demeanor than you've gotten previously. The previous day is kind of nice, kind of welcoming, open, a little weird around the edges, but for the most part, you know, very vocal, very, you know, open. It seems like a different person, right? It's almost, at the very least.
Well, I guess I wish you good luck on your time out there. Just
Yeah.
gonna start to walk back to the room.
Enjoy your sleep. You and the rest of you.
Yes. Sleep.
Will you be sleeping as well? Kind of looks to you, Mac, very sharply. Even asks you in a very blunt kind of, you know, like no emotion added to the words, like almost annoyed, like a slight air of annoyance.
Like very much like you should go back to bed. Vibes.
Kinda, but it. How prideful is Mac?
Pretty.
Yeah. So being kind of, you know, like if, for instance, if this person were to say like, get the fuck back in the room, how is Mac gonna react?
I feel like, whoa, bro, I didn't say anything. I was not the one trying to school you.
Yeah, but you know, you do get that air, right? That annoyed kind of, you know. There's a weird, very weird aggression here, right? The annoyance kind of plays into it. As you look closer at the figure, you can see they're doing like how to describe, like, you know, when you see someone who's really angry and they're just like doing everything they can to kind of keep it underneath the surface. You know, there's like
yes,
kind of strange facial expressions they might make, or, you know, like things they might do with like their lip or something. You're kind of seeing that pretty plainly. And as it's kind of becoming a bit obvious to, he's just gonna nod a couple of times, like he's agreeing with his own thoughts, and then kind of flatly state, yes, you should get some more sleep. You're gonna need it for tomorrow. Do not mind me. I just have some business to attend to. I'll be back. If I see you, then we shall see each other before you leave, but if I don't, then safe travels.
and this is all still said in like that annoyed tone.
Yeah.
Okay. Mac will just kind of like hold up his hands like kind of defensively, like dude, chill. But he'll give like a shrug, and he's still like smiling, so he's still like lighthearted. And he will go, all right, well, you said you have business to take care of, but if you need anything, you know who to call. If you need anything, you know, beaten up, you know, like kind of like punch the air a little bit.
Okay.
It's like, you know who to call if you need someone to kick some butt. And then he'll give Brynmore like, you know, like a playful punch or two on the arm. And then he will go back to the room.
So you give the playful punch?
Yeah. It's like not hard though. It's just like a little like boop, you know?
Yeah, when you do that,
Further driving in that he's fine with beating stuff out.
yeah, when you kind of do it, trying to get how would this person react to that. Kind of step in, just give like a playful little kind of 1-2 to the arm. Nothing that hurts by any means.
No, definitely not. It's like definitely one of those just like
friendly
hey.
kind of.
Yeah, like definitely not in any negative manner.
Yeah, he'll just kind of purse his lips and kind of let you do your thing, and then well, then you and the others have a peaceful night's sleep. He kind of turns his back to you and kind of head to the front door, kind of opening it up. Nix, you've already kind of walked back, kind of made your way into the room at this point, right? Kind of pushing past, not aggressively or anything, but kind of moving past Dorino, who's standing up close by the door, kind of listening intently. But Mac, I'd say you're still in the hallway when the door opens. And as it does, there is almost like a light from the outside that kind of briefly shines as the door opens, but quickly kind of closes. The light itself, though, is because you're walking down the hall, right? So your back is to the door, and so you just see like the hallway ahead of you have this like red tinge of light before the doors kind of close quickly. As the figure kind of steps outside, and the 5 of you are alone, awake. 4 of you in the room. Mac, you kind of see this dim red light for just a brief moment as the door opens and kind of closes, recognizing that it certainly came from the door itself, and then you're basically right there at the door to the bedroom.
Would that be like a normal red light? Like, or would it be weird that it was light at like 2 a.m. or whatever?
I would say.
Or is that normal for the forest?
From what you know about the Red Vivarium, I mean, you can give me a couple of checks here. Occult, you can give me nature, even survival. Survival? Okay. There are a lot of strange things in the Red Vivarium, especially, right? A lot of the creatures here are completely unique to this area of the world entirely, right? Not even just this area, not even like just the Zolio Enclave, but specific to just this forest. And with the 15, seeing that red light for a moment, you think to yourself, I mean, there's nothing that immediately kind of comes to mind that would create a light like that. And you've done a little bit, we'll say like you've done a little bit of research into the Red Vivarium prior to coming here. But much of the information that's available is what it used to be, right? Rather than what it is now. Because of the necromancer who has kind of twisted it and done what they've done within. So as you kind of think, you get a strange sensation like, whoa, like that's probably not good.
Okay. He's gonna walk back into the room behind everybody else. And he will just kind of motion with his thumb back, like behind himself, and just go, so he's gone, and there's some, like, light going on outside. It's kind of weird for this early in the morning.
Well, good thing we're inside.
And then, having heard this from a distance, who'd had spent some times in pubs and with low-life criminals, did it actually sound like he was like seriously about to throw down shit, or was he just like the guy who just fake bumps himself up to just before a fight?
Listening intently, with the past that you have, I'm gonna say your first impression that is that he was absolutely serious. Yeah, this did not come across as like somebody who, you know, attempts to yeah, kind of like project. You didn't see him directly, so I guess a little bit of your intuition is a little skewed because, again, the previous day is so open and kind of welcoming, right? Whereas the what you heard felt like it came from somebody with, you know, absolute seriousness to them.
I think he just muttered to himself a bit. It's always the quiet ones, and as if everyone comes into the room and the door closes, he'll just have made a little triangle out of a piece of wood and put that slightly in front of the door so it could act as a stopper and be like, at least we can finish our visit.
I hope that will stop him.
Yeah, little
There are
ball
definitely
noise.
some oddities to him.
Oh yeah, a little piece of wood is gonna stop anything.
Maybe we should just leave the door open and see that I find myself seated in the main room, so I can just wake you up should something come along. I don't really feel like sleeping anymore anyway. I think it would have been 4 hours of night, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if you don't feel like you need to sleep anymore, I definitely feel like I still need to catch a few hours to get to the pace again we were walking yesterday.
As much as we've enjoyed the bed, I could suggest that we put all of our bedrolls in the main room.
Not the worst idea.
That way Irina has someone next to her at all times.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. So,
Hey, Arena, you wouldn't happen to... Well, you knew what that mist was out there the other day, or yesterday. Wouldn't happen to know of anything that has a changing shadow.
A changing shadow. I wouldn't
Seem to have a
necessarily
longer
associate
neck.
it. No, not necessarily.
Hmm.
Or, like, I don't believe I would associate longer necks with the lore of that, right?
the vampire prince? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As fine as I am staying with him, back in town, he definitely had some sort of magic.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe I... Wait, before I say something wrong, I did see a snake on him, didn't I?
You would have, yeah, like very momentarily. Wrapped up or coiled around the body.
Hard to tell if it's affecting him or if he's just a caster, though.
She would shrug.
There was that, and then there were some... I swear I saw something weird with his eyes. But... we should stay away from him as, well, potentially as best as we can. I don't want to get
Well,
wrapped into... anything that he deals with.
We could always just get a move on.
He might know his way around the place, though.
True. And I do think there was some truth when he said that the dark outside will definitely hold more dangers than we've seen during the day.
I think he just might be another one of them.
The woods attract all kinds of people.
If he says we're safe here, I'd rather be safe here than outside.
Exactly why I decided to go in the first place. Well, let's go to bed.
Yeah.
Jester
Yeah.
goes and pulls his bedroll and rolls it out and lays right next to Dorina.
All right. So, a few of you are joining Dorina in the living room area, while Dorina kind of stays awake. Is that what did I understand that right? Okay.
Yeah, we're all
Yeah.
hang out there, I think.
All right. So, is everybody, or do people still want to? Do some people still want to stay in the room?
Yeah, but Mac's gonna take the couch.
Okay. Fair enough.
And he's gonna like pat his chest to Chester if Chester wants to like lay on top of him.
Okay. Okay. Jesus Christ. So the five of you, feeling a bit uncomfortable about staying in the room, you just kind of push your way over into the main living room, and all kind of gather around, moving and replacing your bedrolls before kind of continuing to call it an evening. But Dorina, you stay awake, kind of on watch for the latter half of the evening while everybody else gets some more rest. So yeah, everybody gets comfortable. Whoever wants to sleep, kind of go back to sleep. Dorina, you stay awake, kind of just waiting to see if he'll return, what'll happen, etc.
Maybe she'll sing a lullaby.
Okay. Yeah, but maybe you sing a lullaby to help to help the twins fall asleep.
We're so serenaded right now.
Yeah, serenaded. So everybody falls asleep and it's just you awake, Dorina. What are you doing? Are you just sitting there kind of waiting to see what happens? Or are you actively doing anything while the others continue to rest?
I think she would try to draw something, but she wouldn't do anything loud.
Okay.
Occasionally, like keeping a look at the windows and listening, of course.
Fair enough. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Listening out. Just kind of waiting to see what happens. Yeah. The rest of the evening goes well. You kind of sit by yourself, just kind of drawing and taking some time while the others get the rest they need. The four of them, you all just kind of pass back out, and Hoot especially, kind of immediately upon laying back down, just right back to sleep. So the rest of the evening goes well until you see the first, kind of breaks of daylight starting to make their way in. The normal kind of almost like blue hue to the day is a little weird in the Red Vivarium because of the red leaves. There's actually like a almost like a strange kind of red effect given to the light. Before you know it, everybody's gotten whatever kind of rest they need mechanically, meta wise. Feeling all, you know, kind of ready to go. And yeah, it seems to be morning, and Bryn Mawr has yet to return. So, what are you doing, Dorina?
Are there like good food supplies in the kitchen?
Yeah, I mean, you take a quick look. A lot of stuff seems. There's definitely some good stuff. You can definitely kind of, you know, scavenge a good number of, you know, kind of dried meats and some rations in that regard. But also, some of it seems pretty old, right? Kind of left behind, aged for certain.
I think I would just try to find the best there is to prepare a quick breakfast. For when everybody else wakes up.
All right.
Just kind of make it look nice, you know, put something on the table.
Fair enough. Yeah, you kind of whip up a nice kind of, you know, mix of maybe like a I don't know, like dried meats, right? Kind of chopped up and kind of maybe given like a quick once over in like a pan to kind of crisp them up a little bit and warm them up, as well as whatever else you can kind of gather to make like a decent breakfast spread for everybody. And I'll say kind of just as you're about to finish up, I mean, the smell of making it, I mean, it smells quite good. It starts to kind of wake up everybody in the group who's all kind of sleeping in the living room area, right? Either the smell or, you know, Dorina, the sound of Dorina kind of getting to it, right? Will kind of stir you all. And yeah, so one by one, each of you kind of wakes up, and then just as the last one awakes, right? Dorina, you're kind of setting the table with a spread of food for everybody to partake in.
Yeah, we eat breakfast, I guess.
Perfect. All right. Yeah. So you all hop up, grab yourself a bit of the spread. It's all very good, very tasty, very hearty. A good way to start the morning, especially after the day that you had yesterday. Yeah, it's good. You eat. Everything is settled. If there's anything you want to share with each other while you eat, not. Get ready and start to make your way out, or are you gonna wait for Bryn Mawr to return?
Nah, he's fine. I mean, Chester wouldn't wait. We
Fair
already
enough.
decided that he's kind of uncomfortable, so.
Fair enough. All right. So yeah, you all kind of finish eating, you know, and then decide that yeah, no use in waiting around. Better to get back on the path and do what you can about finally making your way to this sanctuary of sorts. So you all kind of throw your stuff together, you know, re-roll your bedrolls, get everything kind of packed up. And is there anything anybody wants to do before you leave this cottage?
I would love to leave a goodbye letter for Bryn Mawr.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
like some heartfelt words about us leaving because we're in a great hurry, of course, and best of luck.
Fair enough. Yeah, you leave it on the table, maybe. So.
Yep.
All right.
Could I look around for some materials and use my improvised tool feat to make a makeshift compass to help us navigate the jungle?
Okay. Yeah. How does that work? Let me take a look at it real quick.
You can jury-rig solutions when you don't have the proper tools. You can attempt to repair damaged items, or if you have the raw materials available, you can craft something basic like a compass. Or
Okay.
You just want the compass that I have?
That also works. A compass gives you +2 circumstance, I believe.
Yeah.
Do you just want the compass that I have?
oh, you have a compass. That would
Yes.
come in
Who
handy.
would go
earlier.
into the middle of nowhere without a compass. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, Hoot, that's so weird. Why would you do that?
Who'd you sure that at the start of this trip you certainly had a compass on you at some point? but maybe you've lost it over the last couple of days.
He got
you-
smacked around so much.
Maybe you
The man
misplaced
had
it.
the compass mysteriously.
Yeah. Do you mean this one? Right. Yeah. Sure. So Nix, you pass over the compass for who to seeing him kind of like, oh, who do you kind of maybe explain like, oh, let me see if what I can do about getting us a compass, and then Nix, you kind of offer yours up.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well then, yeah, a proper compass rather than like I said, like a jury-rigged one. So yeah, the five of you, Delina, you just kind of finish up the note, kind of leave it on the table, and the five of you kind of swing open the door and start to make your way out, back into the fresh air, right? As you kind of step out, it's almost like you walk through this like a barrier of sorts, right? You kind of step out of the house and you take a few steps down, and once your feet kind of plant themselves on solid ground, earth underneath your feet, kind of one by one, first we'll say leaving the house first, probably, Cheese, and then Mac just behind, Nix, Boot, and then Dorina last as you've written a note and left it behind. Just close the door. And as each one of you kind of finds a footing on solid earth, a strange feeling kind of overcomes the five of you. Well, for one, despite the strange evening, you feel more rested than you've ever felt. Like, every dream you had last night was the perfect one to have, right? Everything you dreamed, everything that you kind of experienced in your sleep was just like magnificent. And I mean, you slept on a hard floor with bedrolls. You shouldn't really feel as good as you do, right? As you kind of stretch, like there's this real feeling that you've just had an amazing evening of sleep. That, the aches, the pains, right? The Hoot especially, you notice it, right? Like, because you're feeling your ribs, and then you should kind of set your feet underneath it. It's like, whoa, you can stand up a bit straighter, right? Kind of move around with more ability. You feel great. And so this effect kind of happens to each one of you, in in their own ways. And then it's just the five of you kind of standing on the earth part, kind of looking back at this kind of welcoming cottage. Either way, Hoot,
Was
take
there
back. Go ahead.
sorry, was there like an unsettling vibe in the cabin aside from like Brynmore and our cannibal stew?
I guess you can think back on it. I guess roll me I feel like we're gonna do a custom one for this one. Mac, what is your intelligence modifier? It's a +1. Roll me a d20 +1.
How do I add a +1?
We can just do it mentally. You can just roll the d20 in.
Man.
Okay, well, I didn't notice anything.
Yeah, no. Yeah, like other than the strange vibes you might have gotten from Jesus Christ.
I thought it felt absolutely amazing in that cabin.
Yeah. Other than like a little bit of strange vibes, but I mean, everybody has their moments, and maybe they were just a bit annoyed at something, right? They had business to take care of, right? Maybe they were a bit annoyed that you all woke up and they had to kind of delay whatever they were doing to kind of explain the situation, right? It happens. But other than that, and I guess whatever whatever distrust you might have had towards the stew that was left on the fire. Other than that, I mean, the place felt, you know, kind of wonderful. A part of you kind of, even now, kind of feels like, man, yeah, maybe we stay one more day, right? You got this kind of like this
It
urge.
felt so much
you know?
nicer in the house than
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah. Kind of drawing you back. Actually, all 5 of you kind of have that feeling. Like, whether it's definitely not of your own volition, right? It's not like a thought that is kind of created by yourself. But there's this like almost like a voice in the back of your mind. It's kind of like, you know, like, oh man, that was nice. Like maybe we could, you know, like for some of you maybe it's like more along the lines of like, it's a shame we can't stay one more night. Whereas like for others, it's, man, it'd be nice to, you know, it'd be nice to stay one more because it was so comfortable. Especially when you kind of get that feeling like, oh, one more night of rest like that, and I'd be, you know, you'd be feeling perfect, Hoot, right? No little aches, no little pains. You'd feel perfectly fine. But in any case,
The first shot of heroin.
but even with those thoughts, right? Nobody here is gonna act on that. And so, Hoot, as you take lead again, nature, survival, and now with a compass, +2 to the roll, circumstantial. Okay. 21 in total. Yeah, absolutely. Now with the compass, I mean, before you were, I mean, you're well traveled. You know exactly what you're doing. So it's no issue for you to kind of navigate, even having using like the natural placement of like where light is and the sun is in the sky. But now that you have a compass to go with it, I mean, it's no problem at all. The compass itself is kind of, you know, doesn't seem to have any issues. It's not spinning out of control or anything along those lines. You know exactly what direction you're heading. You're going directly kind of east-ish, you know, to make it to your destination. And so you start early in the morning, and we'll say that, you know, for an example, you probably start close to something like 7 to 8 a.m. So you've got plenty of daylight left ahead of you, and you feel certain that the day's travel will be, especially now with this, with a compass in hand, do you feel, you know, today's travel will be much easier than yesterday at the very least. So.
I don't know why I didn't think about it before, but this really, why wouldn't anyone travel without it? I could have sworn I had one earlier, but fine, we should go this way.
Pointing the appropriate direction, you start to make your way, and the rest of you all kind of follow behind. So, after walking for some time, roughly about 2 to 3 hours, can everybody here give me perception checks, please?
We can, but most of us aren't very good.
Very interesting, though. It seems like as you're walking and as you're continuing, for whatever reason, geez, you are Chester. You are very, very observant in this moment. Yeah, you're feeling good.
Good after the
After
the night in this weird cabin.
Yeah, in a way that you probably haven't felt in quite some time, right? Good in a real core kind of way, right? So you're definitely more kind of aware of your surroundings, or maybe you've got a little bit of a pep in your step that you typically don't have. And with that 22, Hoot is doing a good job, right? Leading everybody else is kind of just following the path that Hoot kind of now draws ahead of you. And it seems like nobody else notices this, but about 3 hours into the trip, you see an area that Hoot is walking into, and with a 22, and this is very, 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 very subtle, but you pick up on it. You see in the ground there are these roundish kind of how to describe it. There seems to be like these, to call them piles is a bit much, but there's these areas in the ground where there is like a wide circle. We'll say something about certainly about 6 feet across, right? 180 centimeters for the damn Europeans that don't know feet. So, but they're wide. They're like large, kind of. Again, circles is very. It's like a circular pile, almost where like just ever so slightly a gathering of like leaves and dirt and all of that has kind of gathered, and you can see, again, supremely subtle. But there's these kind of small, or rather, just this light kind of like something has kind of brought them into this shape, right, and kind of left just the very ever so present kind of line that shows where these like circular kind of piles are. You're the only one who seems to see it at this moment, Chester.
There's like a lot of these, you said.
Oh yeah, like kind of sprawled all the way across.
Like almost like weird. Like, are they perfectly round or are they more like graves?
They're kind of perfectly round, yeah. And again, when I say like a pile, I mean like the difference between where this kind of circular effect is and the kind of the grooves that kind of show where they might be is like ever so slight, like maybe like a centimeter. But you're just, maybe you saw it from the right angle or something. You kind of perfectly see like just this very, very slight kind of circle effect. And they're all kind of gathered around each other, like a bunch of little, almost like a collage of circles, right?
Yeah, Chester would kind of run up and give Hoot a lovely little like neck hug, where it kind of forces him to stop moving.
Okay.
And it's gonna kind of like whisper in his ear and point out the round, weird circles.
I'm gonna
about to walk into something.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the effect is so subtle that it takes a moment, even with it being pointed out to you directly, Hoot, for you to kind of really recognize that there's something off here. Like you're like, you know, like almost like incredulously, you think like, oh, it's, you know, the twins up to some bullshit again, right? But even as Chester kind of describes it, like it's almost like seeing, you know, those fucking, I don't know what they're called, but those
Optical
fucking
illusions?
optical illusion. Yeah. It's almost like an optical illusion. Before it like, oh, like it kind of reveals itself, and then as you see it, you're like, holy shit, you really recognize this wide kind of swath of the path forward, the direction that you need to go, seems to be covered in all of these strange circular piles.
How far away are we from them?
I'll say at this point you're probably about 20 feet, like you just saw it like narrowly in time.
Alright, Chester's going to, after everybody's kind of stopped, cast Detect Magic.
Detect magic, okay. So you send out a pulse.
It's within 30 feet, so I'd only get the ones
Yeah.
closest to us.
Just the tail end of things. Lower than, so this is a cantrip.
Yeah, so it's just, I just do I
Okay.
get magic.
Spread out the pulse 30 feet?
Yep.
Nah. Seems fine. More natural than magic is what you're like, after, especially after you kind of send out this detect magic, right? And taking a look at him from here. Seems a bit more natural, although very well covered up. Whatever it might be.
Seem anything magical about it?
No,
Yes, it's fine. I mean,
I can try to touch one with my spear.
maybe we shouldn't step on them? Or we could.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're like little pit traps. Yeah, you know what? Go step on one. I'll watch.
Today,
Nix will walk over and poke one with his spear.
Okay, how much reach does the spear give
What
you?
happens? It has reach, so it's at least 10 feet of reach.
10 feet of
5
reach?
feet of reach.
5 feet.
Yeah,
Okay, so from where you
whatever
are.
that It has
Addition-
reach.
Yeah, additional 5 feet. Perfect. Kind of approach, and you using the gill hook, right? Kind of reach down closer and kind of maybe move a little bit. As you do so, the gill hook kind of grasps onto something, and as you pull it back a bit, it's almost like you're opening up. Yeah, the top starts to open from one side, right? So like a circular kind of lid of some sorts. It's been covered very well with a good amount of kind of natural kind of brush to conceal it a bit better. But as you kind of pull it back, there's certainly a large opening underneath it.
Well, you did say it was some kind of a trap. Not sure what's really down there, but I'd rather not go down there if I had the choice.
Well, then look from up here.
Is there any scent or smell coming out of the openings?
So do you approach and you attempt to kind of open one up?
Oh, I just meant from the one he was starting to lift.
Well then, I guess I should ask then. Do you go up and get close, with Nyx as he starts to lift one up?
Not too close. I just
Okay.
mean like a
Alright.
general gust of wind, you know.
Nah.
Okay.
Well, I guess we just have to avoid stepping on them.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
don't
can
think.
go first,
Yeah, I don't
and we'll
think
follow
Martin
you.
Get caught on the ground again. Unless I'll go ahead, and now that you've pointed out these circles, I guess they should be easier to spot, and just carefully walk towards where we need to go, and just try and avoid the circle.
Yeah. I mean, they are very, very close to each other. So, I'm gonna say like the amount of space between one and another, is probably about as wide as a foot, right? Like, so completely avoiding, is gonna be,
Balance,
it's gonna be a bit difficult.
action.
Yeah.
Balance is acrobatics check against the balance DC.
Acrobatics. All right. So, each of you, with Hoot at the front, go ahead and give me acrobatics check. Because you have to, again, you have to kind of shuffle your feet, right? More than anything. Like you're walking across a tight beam of some sort.
Before I do it, I'm going to cast guidance on myself.
Perfect. So that gives you the +1, right?
Yep.
All right.
I'm just gonna add a +1 to mine.
Yeah. Could even do it mentally. That way too.
Not that I needed it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. At the very least, it undoes whatever negative you would have gotten from the armor. Wow. Okay. So, each of you are Hoot leading the way. But all of you. Go ahead.
As we go by them, can we just kind of like take a little peek inside of
You
the
want-
one that Nyx opened?
You want to?
Now I'm not so sure, but I mean,
You're-
if
If
they're
you're
all like
asking to
Mine-
look inside,
like we
Nyx
have
will
to be,
lift one up.
yeah, because it's like because they're all so close together.
Yeah.
I figure it's like we're not going to be able to get any closer to this thing than we already are.
Fair enough.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'll take a little peek inside.
Take a little peek inside. Okay, perfect. So Nyx, you kind of grab it with the gill hook again,
Yeah.
kind of just lift it just a bit for Mac to kind of squat down and kind of take a look inside. Not wanting to, again, step on one of these. As you look in, Mac, do you have dark vision or anything like that? Or do you just have straight normal vision?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
So you see what looks to be a tunnel, right? We'll say the circle, the tunnel, or the opening, I guess, underneath this these, as you now see it, it looks like you can see the underside, so you see what Nyx is kind of lifting up. These look definitely kind of like a natural kind of nest or kind of tangle of like all sorts of kind of like, you know, earth and twigs and sticks and all kinds of shit, right? Looks naturally as like a little topper for this this tunnel. The tunnel itself is about halfway, so it's about half the size of the circle that kind of sits on top of it. Is like a dome, I guess, of some sort. So at the very least, you know that if you step on one of them, you'd have to step about halfway, and then you'd kind of break through into the hole underneath, right? It's not necessarily that if you step on the outer edge of this little topper, that you would just kind of go all the way through. In any case, though, as you kind of peer down, the tunnel kind of goes almost like straight down, like from your point of view, like some sort of a pit trap. But you can't see the bottom. It just kind of disappears down into darkness. And if you take a close listen, which I assume that you are, you hear something, but you can't quite place it. You'd have to give me you have to give me a perception check to see how well you hear what is coming from this tunnel. 15. You hear the sound of movement, but what exactly it might be is kind of lost to you. Like, you hear sounds coming from underneath, like the moving of earth and stuff like that. But you can't quite place what it might come from. Could just be natural because you've opened up the top, right? Like maybe a bit of dirt is kind of shifted off the side. There's definitely something down there, though. So.
Well, it might benefit us to be quiet on our trek through these. That, or if any of you have anything to drop down, and see what comes out.
Right, you wanna drop down as bait?
Not when we're in the middle of all
throw
these
something
things.
down.
I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't think the particular things I'm looking for would be hidden in holes such as these. Might be best avoided, going by our previous experiences.
I do quite agree.
A little precarious at the moment.
Yeah, we're on a time crunch. We should go.
Okay.
I want to put the top back on, and then yeah, let's go on. I'll lead the way.
All right. So, kind of set it back and continue. And again, you have to use acrobatics here, right? So you're essentially flat-footed, kind of just shuffling your feet across, like you're walking across some, tight beams, right? And Hoot leading the way because you've got the compass. You kind of navigate as best. You get to a point and you've kind of shuffled your way for a number of minutes now. You get to a point where you're basically feeling like you're, at least as far as you can tell, Hoot, as you kind of look out ahead of you, you think you see kind of an end to this area, but you're not entirely sure if that truly is it, right? Maybe it's just the kind of edge of your vision that you can tell as best as possible. So you feel like you're roughly about halfway. And I'll say at this point, as you kind of get to this spot, you shuffled quite well, so your feet have kept underneath you. But Mac, as you're kind of trying to follow as best as possible, fortunately you kind of maybe lift your foot, maybe feeling like your balance is not entirely perfect as you kind of take a step forward, and unfortunately as you do, you definitely kind of leave like a loud crunch as your foot kind of breaks through one of these circle kind of toppers, and seems to kind of crush down the vegetation and the gathering of it. Your foot doesn't break down through like in a way that you kind of lose balance and you go falling forward, because your foot does hit on solid ground, so you haven't stepped fully into this pit trap of some sorts. But you've definitely done enough.
Just kind of trips him a little bit.
Yeah, but you definitely kind of just gotten your foot crunched down in, and you kind of have to lift it back up and out to kind of get it free. And it's kind of weird because again, this part of the force has been very quiet, and even as everybody has shuffled, there's been this concerted effort to kind of keep quiet as best as you can. So this sudden kind of crunching earth sound, as Matt kind of loses their balance for a moment and their foot kind of goes stepping forward, it seems to kind of break the quiet in the air. And for a moment, as your foot kind of pierces through, and you kind of stop and kind of look around, everybody, all of you kind of hear the sound, and maybe you kind of whip your head in the direction, kind of see Max standing there, like my bad, right? Like, oops,
Whoopsie.
And as you're doing that, there's this moment of quiet, and very much very much in the in the Lord of the Rings armor going down the well moment. All is quiet before the five of you become aware of this strange kind of rumble that is coming from underneath your feet. And then you realize that it is at the very least, as best as you can tell, as the sound kind of grows louder and louder, thousands and thousands of limbs scurrying underneath your feet.
Limbs like arms or limbs like roots?
Like creature arms.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Out how far to the other side? I you're halfway, but
you're about halfway. Say you've been kind of slowly shuffling your feet underneath you. And we'll say you're probably about 30 feet or so. 30, 40 feet. So, as the sound kind of grows louder and louder, it seems to be approaching you. Whatever it is scratching its way underneath the earth. And you can feel underneath your feet, even the ground itself kind of slowly starting to vibrate, and you can look down and you would see the earth that settled atop slowly start to kind of skip across itself, as there's this low rumble as many things seem to descend upon your position. What are you doing?
This doesn't seem amusing at all. Let us pick up the pace.
I think with Hoot being in front, he'd take out the rope that he has and toss it sort of to the back of the line for everyone to also hold on to, just in case that someone might slip and try
We all
and
go down
guide
together.
us. Yeah, try and guide us out as quick as possible.
Okay, so I should ask then, if you're trying to guide everybody else, are you are you willing to be very risky about that, right? To just like kind of almost take like full sprint run, or are you doing it slow and maybe faster than you were going previously, but still slow in the context of trying to get out of here?
I think still slowish, but yeah, at a faster train speed, but not full out sprinting.
Not full out sprinting. Okay. So you shuffle about 10 feet, and the vibrating, the earth is getting more and more kind of violent underneath your feet. You really feel it now, right? You feel it as whatever it is, whatever is underneath your feet seems to just be getting closer and closer. If you continue to move at this pace, whatever is underneath, down in these tunnels, covered up by these toppers, will surely be on you before you can reach the other side. So say you get about 10 feet or so. I'm gonna say this becomes very obvious to everybody else. Nyx, Dorina, Chester, and Mac, you all feel like Hoot is taking his sweet damn time here, and this thing is getting closer and closer. So are you just gonna let yourselves be caught, or are you
No, I think
trusting
we're
Hoot? Yeah.
I think we're gonna risk it. Nobody trusts Hoot.
Yeah. I'll start running just a bit like jumping from branch to branch in like the Thanean Gardens,
Okay.
like through the trees. I'll try that strategy.
So you're taking kind of
Over the
leaps,
floor, of course.
right? Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
So like not imagining it as a floor with holes, but imagining it like the floor itself is just branches over one giant hole.
Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, go ahead and roll me an acrobatics here as you try to kind of leap, kind of one step at a time. Everybody else.
Oh, that's horrible.
It is rough. A reminder, everybody has a hero point. But
Oh yes, can I use that?
fair enough, yeah. Right click and then reroll using hero point.
Knock guidance on Mac.
Okay. Chester using guidance on Mac. And you're gonna go sprint to kind of rush forward. It's even worse. Oh no. With a hero
Ouch.
point, you have to use, unfortunately, the rerolled number. Okay. So you use guidance on Mac, and then Chester, you yourself are just kind of, sprinting forward, right? You're not gonna be the one caught up by whatever this is, right? You're gonna get the fuck out of here. So go ahead and roll me an acrobatics check.
Me or Mac first?
We'll do Chester first. Yeah. Because I'm imagining it like guidance and then turning and rushing.
Good.
Again, we have hero points, but you must take the roll that you get.
Yeah, alright, I'll use it. Why not?
All right. Mac, you have guidance, and are you trusting Hoot, or are you gonna rush forward too?
I'm following my brother.
Okay. Roll me a acrobatics check, and you have a +1 bonus to this, and you didn't need it.
28. 28.
For a 28 total. Perfect. And then Nyx, holding onto the rope, saying "fuck this, fuck you, Hoot. You're taking too slow. You're taking too long, and getting the fuck out of there." This will be for Nyx. What are you doing? If you're talking, you're muted, or maybe my Discord has gone out. Audio messed up. Okay,
I
perfect.
can't hear either.
So then, Hoot, as you realize your slow shuffling is not working in this moment, what are you doing?
still imagining that everyone's holding onto the rope, but also feeling that it's going to get closer with the pace he's taking. He's also just going to try as best he can to have foreseen the path that he saw and just hope that it's the right way and sprint that way.
Fair enough. Okay. Acrobatics as well. Or I mean, I should say, I guess you have a choice of type of check here. Acrobatics is if you're trying to be very careful and kind of like keep, in a more dexterous way. But I guess technically, if you wanted to, you could really kind of throw yourself forward physically. Maybe like an athletics check. You definitely kind of like really. There's a number of ways you could approach this. So
I think he tried to. I think he also would be able to, like, sort of, well, in encounters he can fumble through opponents, and he tried to use that dexterity to sort of make that short-lived sprint of getting out of the area, and well, it would still be sort of like an acrobatic sort of way.
okay, all right. So you still use what you got. All right. And then so next, yeah. Again, how?
Yes.
Recognizing that Hoot is just not leading you in the way you need to be, how are you handling this moment?
I'm gonna kind of yell out to him to hurry it up, and I'm going to start to sprint, and then when I think that I can make it somewhere within like 15 feet, I'm gonna try to jump the remaining holes.
Perfect. Roll me in athletics, or I guess acrobatics if that's what you would wish.
Athletics.
Okay, athletics. Perfect. All right. So Mac, Hoot, and Nyx, the three of you, resolve yourself to just getting the fuck out of here, and each of you in your own way. Mac, kind of guided by Chester, you rush forward, and you're
Too focused on my brother.
yeah. At this point, you probably you don't even really know the path. You're just doing it based on perfect instinct. And in this moment, Mac, you're fully online, so to speak. And so you just rush right through, sprinting the rest of the feet and making it to the opposite side. Quickly followed up by Hoot and Nyx. As Nyx, you kind of again take a few steps and just kind of just throw yourself physically forward as hard as you can, and you kind of come crashing on the opposite side, just narrowly avoiding what would have been a hole that you potentially, had you thrown yourself just a bit worse, right, you would have kind of come crashing and fallen into the bottom of the pit. But you do not. So you just make it. For Darina and Chester, however, the two of you just wanting to get out of here, maybe in this moment a little bit panicking, or just like not really thinking clearly, just trying to rush as best as you can. Darina, I mean, you're jumping from spot to spot just like the tree limbs, but unfortunately so, as you take a leap, you do see in front of you, you've totally misjudged your ability to jump, and you are certainly going to crash into dead center one of these toppers and go kind of blasting through. And so as you kind of jump, your feet finally land, and you try to do, just in that moment, you try to do as best as you can to give yourself something, even like attempting to kind of throw yourself to the side, or using that momentary balance of earth underneath your feet to maybe somehow shift your position. But your feet go straight through, and you slam onto your stomach about halfway, just kind of reached out forward, your legs dangling down into the pit below. Chester, the same for you. You rush forward, and I'm going to say, rather than kind of taking a leap and falling almost directly into, you just take a wrong step and your foot goes straight down through, and you kind of go crashing down onto that side. You kind of go crashing down onto that side, but just enough to rip your hands forward, and I need the two of you to make me a reflex saving throw. to see if you can reach out and grab a hold of the earth or anything around you to kind of keep yourself from just immediately being thrown down to the bottom.
Grab an edge. Okay. All right.
2 sevens. 2 sevens, but different results. With a 14 and 13. Chester, you grab a hold, but you don't have enough of a hold to be able to grab and really pull yourself up. Dorina, the same for you. The both of you kind of grab on to the side. You, for the moment, you're keeping yourself, whatever you've grabbed onto is keeping its form. It is not kind of breaking away, and you are not falling or tumbling down into the darkness of the pits below. But the two of you are both in a state where you can't necessarily risk putting the pressure you would need to kind of rip yourself up and try to throw a leg around or do what you can to get back up onto solid ground. So Mac, Nyx, and Hoot, as the three of you stand on the opposite side, you kind of look back and you see the two of them go kind of bursting down into and just barely holding on. What are the three of you doing?
Oh, Mac is running right for Chester.
Oh, you run right. Okay, you run right back in. I'll say that the check was so good that you turned back around. And you just kind of bound your way towards your brother. But as you reach him, what are you doing, and how are you attempting to get Chester up and out of the hole?
Chester's like holding onto the edge, right?
Yeah, just barely. So.
Okay. Mac's gonna like reach down and pretty much like attempt to pull him up, kind of like not by like his hands and like his arms, but like his kind of like his upper torso half.
Okay.
Just to give like more leverage.
Fair enough. Okay, so you kind of reach down and do your best. Go ahead and roll me an athletics check. And Hoot and Nyx, as far as Dorina is concerned, do you bother? Oh no, Mac.
Yeah. I'll turn back.
I think.
I'm not doing so hot today, except for that last roll.
I'll try to get within a little bit of reach, and then I'll stick out the gill hook to give her the kind of hooked end to grab a hold of, to try to help pull her out.
Okay. Fair enough. Who does? Nyx kind of steps forward with the gill hook. Are you looking to do anything? Or are you just kind of watching?
As he, because he already tossed back the rope, and he was kind of hoping that everyone would have held on, but maybe not everyone could hold on. And
yeah, I think as people started rushing, yeah, I'm gonna say as people started running, unfortunately that rope went slack. So
I think he'll just pull that back in and try to toss it out to Nyx is going for Dorina, so I guess he was try to get to both of them and toss it to Cheese.
Okay, so all right, perfect. So Mac, again, it is a 4. We have hero points, but again, hero points can be very helpful in the event that you go down dying. So
I kind of think I would like to
okay,
spend my hero point.
fair enough. All right. Okay, much better. So
much better.
yeah. So as you kind of reach down, you grab a hold of your brother, and you're doing your best you can. I mean, this is a kind of an awkward angle to kind of like fully lift somebody up and out, right? And so as you kind of reach down, putting your arm, around your brother and start to try to find a good grip to kind of start to help lift him up and out. The same with Dorina, as Nyx offers the edge of the gill hook. I need another check here. Actually, I need so we're gonna say there's a kind of like a double round of checks. I need both Nyx and Hoot to give me athletics checks, and Dorina and Chester, you've got your brother grabbing you, and he's slowly lifting you out, but he needs help, right? He can't just pull you up and out all by himself. So you've got that rope there. So for Dorina and Chester, I need the two of you to maybe it's reflex saving throws to kind of quickly let go and grab a hold of the object that is being offered and presented to you as a way to get up and out. Okay. Perfect. So, all right. So Nick's got an 18 and Dorina got a 12. Perfect. Okay. And then same with the 19, 22. Okay. All right. So as you reach down, Mac, as you're trying to grab your brother and pull him up, Mac, you, Chester, and Dorina, the three of you hear underneath your feet the immense sound of scuttling kind of limbs, and it is at this point that you feel confident that underneath you, the thousands and thousands of whatever skittering creatures are underneath, you feel very confident that these are probably some type of spiders. Just hearing the sounds coming from underneath, and so reflexively, Chester, you just kind of let go of the earth that's kind of keeping you anchored and grab a hold of the rope. Dorina, you doing the same, kind of letting go just in time to grab a hold of the gill hook, just to kind of grab just enough to keep you there. And Nyx and Hoot, the two of you with the athletics checks, each of you kind of pulling the opposite up and out. You're able to, thankfully, just narrowly pull yourselves up out of the holes, and you can now make your way across quickly. But the creatures underneath the ground are right there. I mean, they're certainly upon you at this time. So as you kind of get up and out, you kind of rush the last couple of feet over, just kind of narrowly avoiding the final circle. And as you reach the opposite sides, the five of you, that is when you start to see the tops of all of these circles, and it's almost like they're approaching. There are these massive spiders where the top will kind of fling itself open, and a spider will come bursting out, attempting to kind of grab something that is not there before quickly disappearing underneath. And a number of these happen, and they're growing closer and closer. At this point, they're about 15 feet away. So you aren't sure if they'll continue to travel beyond these circle kind of pit traps. So what are the five of you doing as you're now kind of on safe ground, just for a brief moment to kind of catch your breath, and then you see them approaching?
Going.
Yeah. Okay, you're rushing. Okay.
Thank you for
Yeah,
the
best
help.
to get away from the holes.
Running.
Fair enough. Okay, so you turn and look to run. Do you do anything, or are you purely relying on athletics at this point? Is there anything anybody wants to do to potentially help? All right. So
If they start to come out of the holes and follow us, I'm gonna kind of like turn around and try to intimidate them and kind of yell at them to get back. I don't know if they'll understand me or not, but
okay. So if they start to kind of burst out, that's what you'll look to do.
yeah.
Okay.
You basically just. I'll cast guidance on Dorina.
Dorina? Okay.
She looked like she needed some help.
Fair enough. Yeah. Especially at this point now, right? If it's just going to be a pure foot race, absolutely. So, I guess go ahead and all give me athletics checks at this point then, to see how well you can, get your feet underneath you and start to run through the woods.
This is gonna go well. Oh.
Oh.
You lied.
Oh, well, Dorina has a +1.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
Okay, so that is a 10 total.
Okay.
Okay. So, for whatever reason, the twins and Hoot, the three of you burst off. You are rushing away. I mean, you are gone, right? As soon as you realize that these things may not stop and you do not want to be here for this moment, you just turn and, put the earth underneath you and just start rushing away. Nyx and Dorina, the two of you kind of turn and start to run away as well. But you're a considerable distance, probably to the tune of like 20 to 30 feet even, behind Chester, Hoot, and Mac, as you look to kind of keep up with them. And as you get about another, you say you're about 30 feet away, the final circles that are closest to you start to burst open, and these massive spiders start to crawl out. A number of them, a wave of them, just kind of one after the other. Some of them smaller, some of them large, but a large, like a wave of, like a blanket of these spiders start to burst out and rush towards you, continuing to give chase. So Nyx and Dorina, the two of you are the slowest. Nyx, you have a bit more to you. You can see Dorina's kind of struggling to keep up with you, but you did say if they were to continue traveling, you would stop, and you were going to do something to see what you can do about trying to stop them, right, from continuing to give chase. So how does that look?
Gonna try to look real big, swinging my spear around, try to get Dorina, I guess, in front / behind me.
Okay.
Trying to kind of demoralize the spiders into leaving.
Yeah, or even just potentially kind of stopping, turning, and Dorina, you just continue to run, right? Or do you want to stop with Nyx?
No, but I'm screaming as well while running.
Okay, just trying to get away. Okay, okay, perfect. So Nyx, I mean, you stop, you turn, swing. Go ahead and I think it's an intimidation check to demoralize, to see what you can do. As you, I mean, they're closing in quick, so stopping and attempting to do this. Very nice. Okay. So.
They don't understand language. It's like a -4 or something like that.
Yeah, they do understand language though. So.
That's not concerning.
Yeah, they do understand what you're saying. Oh shit, what does that mean? But so, this is, let's play this out. I'm going to roll a morale check for this group, and I'm going to give them a negative to their roll because this demoralized check is so good. Because it was almost like a critical success, right? 19, so like one away from essentially a critical success. So I'm gonna give them a.
It would be a critical. That's on their will. DC.
Yeah, I think as a massive group though, it's probably a lot higher than it typically would be. Because they realize we have the numbers, right? So I don't think it's a critical success, but definitely think it's a major success. So I'm gonna roll a d20, and I'm gonna give them -4, which means that they need to roll, I think, a 16 or higher to beat this. So yeah. Wow. Okay. So as you turn and kind of scream and call out, right? Like, what is Nyx saying as you attempt to kind of project this intimidation?
Without knowing that they actually understand what I'm saying, it's more of a "get back, you spiders."
Okay. So, in any way, maybe it's the swinging of the axe, right? Sorry, not the axe, the hook. I guess the spear, right? As you kind of swing it around, giving yourself like a wide, with the reach of it, right? Kind of 5 feet, just like this wide kind of circle. And you kind of stand there. The wave of these creatures, the ones that are in your most immediate closeness kind of just come to a quick stop. But the others that stretch out to the sides continue to kind of wrap around. So you stop down. You get a good chunk of these spiders to like slowly come to a stop, and kind of stand almost like a shield wall, right? Like, slowly kind of inching their way forward. But they're no longer running. Even the ones that kind of almost like on the sides kind of bounded a little bit, that look to kind of wrap around, even those have kind of slowed down. The whole mass, this whole kind of carpet of spiders that look to kind of to give chase, comes to kind of like a slow crawl rather, but they are inching forward. Do you just turn and run, or do you look to...
Yeah, I mean, if Dorina got a little bit more distance, I'm just gonna kind of turn and try to outrun them now.
Perfect. Yeah. So, yeah, they definitely slow down enough that the other four are long gone, right? So I guess now it is just you. Roll me an athletics check. I'll say you have a circumstantial bonus here. Do like a mental math of +2.
Okay. Don't need hero point that.
Okay. All right. 23. So you stop, screaming at these spiders, right? You know, waving the spear around, kind of daring them to come forward, which is all too strange for them because they they understand what you're saying, but you obviously don't. It's like a meta thing. They know what you're saying, but you don't know. In any case, though, as you do that, you get the desired effect as they kind of come to a slow crawl, and then you turn, and with a 23, I mean, you don't just run. You kind of bound away. And I'm gonna say they don't give chase. Maybe for a moment, some of them will kind of start to kind of skitter along behind you, but you were running at a pace that is almost more demoralizing than the intimidation check, right? As these mass spiders kind of looks to momentarily continue to give chase, and then seemingly decides that it is not worth the effort. And so, as you're running as fast as you can, maybe you just kind of give a quick glance behind you. I mean, you're running fast enough to kind of start to catch up with the other four, right? Definitely up to Dorina, right? And the other three are definitely still in sight. So you just kind of give a quick glance back. And it seems to be that the carpet of spiders is kind of receding back into their pit traps. So,
Cool.
the 5 of you have only... Jeez, the rolls required for that. The 5 of you have just narrowly avoided conflict with a wave of spiders. So, I'll say you all run to a point that you feel confident. You have put plenty of distance between you and what's behind you, and I'm going to say that you run hard enough, these athletics checks required, that you get to a point where you have to stop running to take a quick 10-minute kind of breather before you continue going, right? So, as the 5 of you kind of get to this, this kind of small clearing, you all have to kind of stop and just take a breather. So, during that breather, what's happening?
Mac is gonna look over Chester to make sure he seems okay.
I'm
Okay.
good.
And also, like, dust him off.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, at this point, all of your lungs are kind of bursting, right? So you're just having to, like, you chug down air, essentially, right? Just, like, as gasping breaths as you can take, right? To just kind of re-oxygenate yourself to, to catch your breath. So in this moment, right, as you're doing this, even while you're breathing this heavy, Mag, you're still kind of reaching over to your brother and kind of just, like, looking to dust him off after all of this has gone on. So the 5 of you kind of come to a quick stop. We'll say there's 2 large boulders that you can kind of lean up against, huge boulders that are kind of jutting up out of the ground, that you can kind of lean up against and maybe even kind of sit down or sit up against at, like, an angle, just to kind of put your hands on your knees and kind of take some deep breaths. So.
Oh, thank God. Whose idea was it to go through those holes? And glares at Hoot.
I think at this point he will just have seen the boulders and just plop down because he's feeling his ribs again. It's definitely not going to be a good day.
Oh yeah.
Trying to get the air down, just like, yeah, mental note. The holes in the ground are bad.
He didn't die. That's good.
Not yet. The day's still young.
And we do have to return at some point.
Let's go a different way then.
Yes, indeed.
5 of you roll me perception checks. I'm sitting, gasping, making short comments in between the gasping breaths.
Oh my god, twinsies!
There you go.
I can't roll today.
Okay. So, Hoot, with a 27 as actually with a critical success, a natural 20, for a total of 27. 27. You were the first to notice, as everybody's kind of in this almost like a semicircle, right? Everybody's just kind of placing where they are so they can all kind of look at each other, kind of natural kind of group formation, but everybody's kind of breathing heavy. But you're the first one to kind of take a quick look to the right, and don't hear them approach, but rather you just see them there. There is a figure kind of standing there, and kind of looking at you all with like a bit of an inquisitive look, and this figure, as you see them, Hoot, it's just you in this moment. They're wearing kind of what looks to be like natural armor, right? A lot of the natural kind of red hues of the forest, kind of almost like a ghillie suit of some sorts, right? Kind of covers over what is very obvious, like a heavier padding armor underneath. And they're kind of standing there. And if you hadn't have rolled so well, because even on their face there's like a almost like you would have almost assumed that they were like a bush of some sort, right? But you see them clearly. You just catch the eyes perfectly, right? To kind of, it's that immediate, again, we've been saying it a couple times now, but that optical illusion effect, like as soon as you recognize it, you know what is there. You can see all the other bits, and they know that you've seen them. So they'll just kind of stand up tall in front of you. And even though their face is kind of obscured from this like natural kind of camouflage that they've kind of used to kind of spread across, to kind of give it a more, again, like a bush-like look. The figure kind of step forward, kind of standing up and then stepping forward, and kind of calling out to specifically you, Hoot, because they know that you're the one that noticed them, but the others, I'm calling out and asking, kind of a bit more inquisitive in their questioning. So, you made it past the spiders. And I guess at hearing that voice, the four of you kind of quickly turn your attention and catch this figure who is now kind of stepping forward, speaking to Hoot clearly though. So Hoot?
I think with some heavy breaths and just leaning against the rock, because they've only encountered dangers. He's subconsciously ready to just crossbow on the side, his hand crossbow, and then just, yes, we have. Are you from around here?
They're gonna reach their hand out, kind of like showing you their palm. Not like they're reaching to you, but kind of like in your direction, kind of showing you to like settle down, right? Like essentially kind of giving you a physical suggestion of don't worry about the crossbow. But as you still kind of reach down and kind of grab a hold of it. They kind of reach their hand forward. Do not worry. Are you in search of sanctuary?
Do they appear to be? Is the voice familiar, or do they appear to be like genuine in their talking? Like the.
I mean, you roll. We'll just go with that natural 20 on the on the perception check because it's still like insight, right? They seem genuine. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. With it appearing genuine, he'll just lower the crossbow and stand up, take a few big breaths, and yeah, sanctuary sounds good, especially after that.
Well then, come to the right place. And they're going to kind of reach up, and they've got this like helmet on that's kind of, again, obscuring a lot of their features, but they'll kind of pull it back to show the 5 of you. They have long elvish ears. They have, as they kind of pull off this almost like helmet crown of sorts, of this like natural look that kind of helps obscure them in the forest. You see long black hair kind of escape from underneath it and kind of rush down, covering their shoulders. They're very what's the fucking term? Very pretty. Yeah, they're very pretty.
Regal?
Let's just say they're very pretty. And they're so pretty you can't quite tell like what gender they might be, right? As the hair kind of escapes and rushes down their shoulders. And so as they kind of take it off and kind of telling you that you've come to the right place, they're gonna kind of just nod with their head and just tell you kind of follow me then, and they will turn their back to you and start to essentially just walk off into what appears to be for the 5 of you, just like a random direction into the woods. And so as they turn their backs and look to guide you to Sanctuary, I think that is a perfect place to stop our game and pick up here next time as the 5 of you have finally reached the Sanctuary within the Red 5 area. So
We found our hot elvish babes.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's exactly what we came here for.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the goal of the campaign. We've got it. We've finally gotten there. But so
I'm gonna hold this guy's hand so hard.
yeah, you're gonna kiss it and everything. Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
whoa.
don't make
girl.
assumptions. Yeah, don't make assumptions. You don't know.
We don't care.
Yeah, we don't care. Yeah. I can't think of the word. I'm still trying to do it. It's like with
Amorphous?
no, that's it's
Androgynous.
like androgynous. That's the
Androgynous,
fucking word. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm gonna hold this elf's hand so hard.
Fair enough.
We're not picky.
You're not picking. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect. Well, this will be our second hot ERP action in the cycle of games. Either way,
Hell yeah.
so, well, maybe we'll see. But in any case, let me go ahead and sign out on the stream and everything, and I'll be back in just a second. So, just give me a few moments. Appreciate you all. So, 1 second. All right. Thank you all for watching. Yeah, hot ERP action. That's a I would hope it's a little bit of a joke, but it may not be. It is just like a reference to a funny situation from one of the campaigns. In any case, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We will be back on Friday for our community world building stream, as we are going over the histories. These are like small histories, small local histories, whatever, about kind of building the skeleton of a historical past in the setting. So that's been the world building idea for the week. And we'll be going over that this Friday, so nothing tomorrow, but back on Friday and Saturday. In any case, if you'd like to get involved, the best place to be is in our Discord. I think we're literally halfway through this cycle of campaigns with the session 4, and I think every group this week is at least at session 4, and I think next week everybody is on session 5, so I think we've actually because of some cancellations, I think we're actually all in line to be on the exact same session moving forward into next week. So thank you all for watching. I hope you have a good day or good evening. The best place to be is in the Discord if you'd like to get involved in future games or just the community in general, as that is where I first reach out whenever I am recruiting for the next cycle of games. Seeing as how we're halfway through, we'll be looking quite soon to get the next group ready and set to go. So yeah, if you'd like to get involved, best place to be is in the Discord. If not, either way, maybe we'll see you Friday, but maybe who knows when we'll see you. But either way, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a good day or good evening, depending on where you are in the world, and maybe we'll see you next time. Hope you have a good one. Peace out. Later, guys.